you've probably given your answer to this before, but like I'm curious, like like right now, what are some of your favorite brands that are crushing it?
Yeah, it's a funny question too, because like so many brands are played out, like so much moves. So I start thinking about like what brands do I like what do I buy? There's a brand called Untitled. It has a three U's at the beginning. They're the clothing brand here in LA that it's run by this artist called Randy Perez. So I really like his art, and then he also does like Bad Bunny's merch a little like occasionally. And he just has like a cool like LA streetwear brand that appeals to me as someone who's like into LA, into Western stuff, like into his design style, and just I just like small brands that are for a niche that like do things well. There's a brand called Psyche Olive Oil I really like. They're a funny one. Everyone knows like Graza and like the viral olive oils, but it's like funny how fast things counterposition. Like Graza's already like played out, right? Like it got really popular. It's like super mainstream, and so there's already like alternative olive oils. But this dude, the Psyche dude, is like it's like very organic. Like you're in New York, it's in like every coffee shop, like every small bodega, and he's got like a fucking skate team, like in Europe. Like it's just very like it's nothing an olive oil should have. It's just like very it's like very authentic. It's very sick, and it's like a guy who really cares about the craft of like a food. I think that shit's tight. Binaural, they're like a fragrance company. I think they do a really good job. Like luxury shit, I'm always like trying to buy luxury shit, but not like Bottega, like just like really nice high end stuff. So there's a company called Benny Rugs I love. They make banger content, and their rugs are just like if you're ever like you have too much money. I assume a lot of kids listening to this pod have too much money, right? And you're like, what do I do? What's an actual luxury purchase? Like get yourself a Benny rug, and you'll be like, oh shit, you know.
Speaking on sort of like what happened with Grazi, right, where they got too played out, what do you think causes that, and what are some like say bandages or fixes to that, right? Where
Yeah,
you
well,
get
like
so
it's suffering from success, right? Like it's not a bad thing for them. If you become too played out, it means that you're making too much money, right? It's just hard to be like, oh yeah, this is a brand I love when it's just fucking everywhere, right? I think there's always some degree of like exclusivity or being in the know is part of why a certain type of person, I assume all of us here, kind of like brands. You're like, oh, like I'm up on some shit, and like once it gets big enough, it's just not. And I think the biggest thing for brands, that's okay. Like don't try to chase that relevancy. Be stoked that you're able to sell to every fucking mom in America, and try to do that with some like intention and some fun.
I have like my inspirations. Like I'm curious, like who from history are you super inspired by, and then who from like right now are you super inspired by? Like,
Yeah, and so like there's all like the typical answers. One sec, let me. Yeah, so like Glenn O'Brien, who was like a writer on advertising, and he has this book literally called like On Advertising. He used to have like a column about like almost like quasi satirical, quasi like editorial about like advertising and what's happening in business. So I'm kind of inspired by him and the way he kind of looked at things with this like absurdist approach. I'm really inspired by late night. Like I spend a lot of time working on my content, and so I look at Johnny Carson, John Oliver, guys like that. I don't really like Fallon and like the new guys. I don't really find as interesting or as funny. But like yeah, like Johnny Carson's joke delivery and shit, and like some of these guys, the way they like would tee stuff up is so sick. And so I study a lot of that. This is like Chrome Hearts magazine. Chrome Hearts magazine from like the 90s, 2000s is like hilarious. It's like they're like doing high-end photo shoots with like their Hollywood friends' kids and shit, and they're all like decked out in Chrome Hearts, and it's like all like rocker fucking Chris Angel shit. I just enjoy people that like get really in their subculture, and I just buy like now. The hardest thing is to like be off algorithm, right? Like your Instagram's just the same as everyone else's. Your mood board, your arenas, everyone's looking at the same shit. So I'm just buying hella fucking print. So every time I go to New York, I'll basically like keep half a suitcase. Like I just like I'll buy out like Casa or like just places there that stock all the obscure stuff. I'm just like, what can I be scrolling people don't have? But like the more editorial shit you can get the hands on, the better. When I was in Italy, there's like a like outside Milan, like 40 minutes outside Milan, there's an archive of just like fashion editorial magazines you can just book time and go to. And it's like, cool, I'll like get hours. Like I have like 1,000 pictures from there, and it's just like, how do you have shit other people don't have?
yeah, shout out to Casa magazines for sure.
sick.
Legends, yeah, that guy's an A+ personality. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's a recent campaign that you've seen that you've been like genuinely impressed by?
Yeah. So I work a lot in beauty. My primary thing I work on last year is in beauty. There's a lot of people who crush it in there. I love beauty because it's like you're on the cutting edge, right? You get the most product. Girls are the most savvy. So there's a brand called Merit I really like there. They're almost like they're like a classier brand. They market more to like working women, like Aritzia women, for lack of a better term. So they had this campaign. It was where like they basically set the whole thing up in like a dry cleaner. It was to market a sunscreen. And then they did a collab with Brooks Brothers like around it. So there was like monogram shirts. Everything was at this dry cleaner. They just really they took this idea of like the beach and sunscreen, and then instead put it into like the working woman's life and like an everyday, in this like very classy, well put together way where like the media was all great, the concept was well executed. It's like a Brooks Brothers collab. It's unexpected, but like their audience likes it. Like I just appreciate like mid-range brand, well intentioned, well executed stuff like that.
Bro,
I'm curious. I would put it back. What about you guys? You guys are in the trenches. Like, what are y'all stoked on?
I have one that comes to my head. I think everything that like Ramp has been doing recently with whatever the guy's name is. You know what? I'm blanking on his name.
Kevin from The Office. That one or the other one? Yeah.
The one, and so where they did the activation in New York, and they had the receipt printer, and he was in a box all day. Like I think it's just like really cool stuff for a, let's just say, boring tech finance company. Absolutely. To just be sort of outlandish and rip a campaign like that, right?
The person I always go back to is George Lois, the dude who designed those Esquire covers, like famous for doing like the Muhammad Ali stuff, and just like an absolutely legendary designer and advertiser. And he's just like the spiritual guru of like, he just has the sickest attitude of like, your shit's whack, like do the idea 100 times over, try and break the idea before it goes out to the public, like just super like ruthless. And his books are fucking awesome, and yeah, I find myself always going back to like his lectures. And then like I've always loved the like, I guess as it relates to like the work I do, I've always really loved the Virgil like free game channel. And it's like, absolutely, sure, like, you know, it's a little generic, but it's like the Heron Preston interviews, those lectures, the Zoom calls he was doing. Like I thought that was super sick for like a kid like me growing up to be like, oh shit, like, you know, there is like legs to this as a career. You can go far with this. So that's
my whole shit is based on that. My whole YouTube, all the content is just being like, oh, I'm just going to do what he does, just more in depth. Like that was obviously interesting. It has immense value. The universe just like brings you value back. Just like give fucking everything away, you know?
1000%. Like that's why even this is cool, because it's like the Zoom call vibe is sick. Like there's no like stupid like straight, you know, alpha.
Yeah, it's not like a set with some like mics that aren't plugged in and shit, you know? And like
yeah. It's almost like people who are in it. Like I like having Garrett here, like he's like in the trenches. Like it's cool to like, you know, there's no. But yeah, another question I have, which I'm curious, I've been curious about your take on this, but like we've all seen like the tech founder meets launch video trend happen over the last 2 years, like especially starting with like Cluely and friend.com, and then literally everyone else ripping the same playbook. And you know, now video becoming like a pretty important like thing for these brands, but then a lot of people started doing it maybe the wrong way. Where are founders thinking about this wrong, and what does a smarter move actually look like here? And I'm just curious on your like take on that as a whole.
Yeah, like, and so I think everyone like assumes it's new, and I guess like the ability for it to travel on X and stuff is new. But I mean, I was like 10 years ago, I was working at this company called 3DR. They were like a drone company, and we did a launch video for a new drone where we hired monkey trainers to train the monkeys to fly the drone, to show you how easy it was. And that was the launch video, and it was like Space Odyssey themed. It had all these like Easter eggs inside of it, and like put up a couple 100K on YouTube and got people stoked. And like that's like been the playbook, right? And so I feel like now it's just like you see everyone doing it, even the most boring software. But yeah, I feel like, look, if you still need a launch video, having a great VSL or a great launch video, like a great product overview, is the cornerstone of being able to sell your product. It's going to live in your website, like all these other benefits that come of it. So like you should definitely take that seriously. But I think what most people miss about it is just like, that's just point one. You damn near have to do that. Yes, you should spend time on it. But now it's like, how does that hook into the recurring media they're going to get from you? Like Cluely is the perfect example, where I think everyone takes the wrong takeaways from Cluely. Like Cluely did those launch videos and then immediately executed like one of the best social series of our time that's still ongoing. That means that no matter what, they can pivot their product 45 times and they're going to have millions of views to push to whatever they want and attract talent. And because they had something to back it up, right? And I think a lot of the companies would be like, cool, we did this launch video. Oh God, we need another viral moment now. And it's like, nah, you need to get people into this cadence, whether it was the people in the video or it's introducing some concept of the media they're going to get from you in the future. But like, this is no longer like a one big video game. It's hundreds of videos constantly. Like, yeah, y'all know. Like, and so it's like, how do you attach that to your media plan? I think is the biggest thing companies need to think about. And you need a media plan, no matter who you are, no matter what you sling. You sell fucking SOC 2 compliance, you need a media plan.
Yeah, and like, how do you respect your brand as well, and not just go for the, you know?
Yeah, that's true too. Well, I think also the brand standards thing is like, I'm fine if you don't respect your brand to some extent. Like as long as you back it up, right? I talk about this. A friend of mine who did our like Cut 30 thing. He's like does buy biz sell type stuff. You want to buy a fucking Jersey Mike's franchise. You want to acquire a SaaS startup, and he was a little reticent to do like viral hooks. And I was like, bro, you have to do it, and then just you show your knowledge right after. So he'll do hooks now where he's like, all right, you know, your uncle died. He left you 280 grand. Are we buying 3 funeral homes or 1 Jersey Mike's franchise? And then he breaks down like, okay, well, here's the EBITDA of the, like, here's an adjusted EBITDA of your average funeral home. Here's the operating cost. Here's the return value. So like you get a ridiculous hook. You're like, what the fuck? But then immediately you're like, oh, this guy's now, or we're already into adjusted EBITDA. Like, okay, like the intelligence is there. And like, we're just in that era. It's the, you know, would Tom Brady and the 17 Patriots defense defeat the Mongols? Okay, I'm using that to explain Adam Smith's invisible hand. Like, I'm in. That's just how we think now.
All right, AI video. I know it's sort of a hot topic, so wanted to see your thoughts on AI video, you know, where it's used well, where it's used badly, your hot take on it.
Yeah, like, look, the hardest part is just, like, dealing with the conversation around it, right? Like, if you are in actual video production, you know, I'll say almost everybody. Obviously, there's some people that stand on their laurels, but, like, almost everybody is using it for transitions, putting shit in B-roll, doing a crazy hook, doing something they couldn't do with CGI, doing a fucking variant, putting more shit in their ad account. It's just like every serious agency and guys I know, it's just in their workflow. And what they're not doing is being like, we shot this whole video with AI. That shit's just to sell Higgsfield, right? Like no one gives a shit. But like, yeah, I think it's just like it's a useful tool everyone's using. And it's just a question of like, where is the line between your audience noticing, caring, and it impacting your business? And I think a lot of that comes just in like how much you talk about it, right? And how much you want to be like made by AI versus just like, yeah, guess what? We missed these 2 cuts and we put this scene in, or hey, this is cheaper for us than CGI to do this hook idea. So I mean, also I got kids, right? My son is 9. They have Canva in his school, right? They use Canva. It's like we use Word. It's free. Canva is like a free education program. So he's doing shit in Canva like every day. And I used to think he was like getting stock images for like the stuff he designs. Nah, he just types it in. I need a graphic of, you know, a fucking maple leaf. I need the pilgrim. And then it's just AI. And so it's already, I'm like, yo, this battle's already lost. Like the 9-year-olds are just like, yeah, of course I'm going to just type in the thing and it appears. And so I think like all the kind of fight against that is like, while it may be like morally correct, is like, it doesn't matter. It's done.
Good take. I mean, I'm in the same place, right? You know, when I'm pitching for a photo shoot, or when I want to do a concept, you know, that's never been done before, and I'm scouring the internet for hours trying to find a specific thing, and there's nothing available, right? But you have to go sell that sort of vision or idea to a client. It's a lot easier for me to go plug in, you know, a prompt and make you know what I'm gonna shoot, rather than, you know, trying to scrape together images.
Are you doing like post retouching stuff at all with it?
Sometimes here and there. I mean, it definitely does help on that like workflow side. But you know, I know people that do full retouching, straight AI.
Yeah, and so I've been seeing that too, and I've been seeing it where the photographers, and some of them are like clouded, don't know that that's what their retouchers are doing, but it doesn't really matter because it's sick, and the retouchers are sort of like, fuck, like I'm better because of this. It's like the whole dynamic in the industry is crazy.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and I remember I was watching. Look, I watched that GTA tutorial that you posted. Like, bro, I like watched that show. Like, we were doing similar stuff in like ad accounts, like just based on what you put in that. Like, right, like just being on the forefront, like I you know, like, and just putting that kind of content out there and caring about it attracts interesting people.
1000%. I mean, I've come to learn that it's like, don't be afraid to just give it all away. You'll get paid tenfold.
Yeah, and no one will do it. I remember we literally went through that and we're like, cool, like we're not going to do all that, you know, like, but like we learned these 2 or 3 things. That's the other thing people know is like, yeah, anyone that actually does all the shit you give away is probably someone you want to be friends with. And most of the people just aren't going to do it anyway, you know? They wouldn't buy your shit anyway if they went and found it and did it all.
Yeah, 1000%. Okay, cool. So we're going to do some questions around like sort of career as a creative. I would say if you were starting from scratch, like in 2026 and you needed to get hired, I think maybe to make it easy, we can talk as maybe a creative director. Like what would your approach be? Like, yeah.
Yeah, like so I think the hardest part about a creative director is you actually have to be able to like execute campaigns and shit. So I think like you got to work your way into something. What I usually tell people is like you need one skill. You need to be a designer, a photographer, a videographer, a writer, any one skill that you are like at least a B+ at. You need to get that and like do that work. And my general advice there for people too is if like you're not getting a job is different, but if you want like freelance work, like you need an offer. Everyone's like, I'm a writer. It's like, nah, like I write landing page copy for fashion brands, whatever. Like just niche down, put your price on the page. Every service offering is either cheaper, faster, or better. You're probably not better. So are you fast? You're going to turn copy in 48 hours, or are you cheap? And just decide on that shit and have that out there and get enough clients to care. But then you basically got to skill stack your way to creative director, right? Where it's like the real creative director thing is like you have that one skill usually. Then you have the ideas, and then you have the ability to pitch the ideas. So basically you even have someone to pitch it to. I have a client that I'm like, oh, your new campaign launch is coming up. Hey, you should do this campaign. That's probably your easiest route to getting your first creative direction work. But second, you have to be able to execute it, right? The creative directors I know, the hardest part about their job is like, cool, I have $18,000. I have to shoot next week and I need to get these 5 people to show up. I need a model. I need an influencer. This has to go in the ad account. I need these 45 assets. How the fuck am I going to make it work? And that's a skill set you can't learn without like connections and like working through it. And I think that people just kind of got to like pitch their way up through that. Curious what y'all take is.
I mean, I think for me, right? So, my take is obviously a little skewed because I'm a photographer, and so I'm dealing with production and creative all the time. So it's always the same problem, right? I say like 95% of my job is networking, the rest is shooting, but that 5% of actually shooting and producing and getting all these people together and making sure people are, at the right place at the right time, that, we are hitting the deliverables we need to hit, making sure there's the right equipment and the right lights on set, like the physical production aspect will always be the hardest part of this job. That's my take on it. Peach, I don't know how you feel.
Yeah. No, I think I do agree. I think creative director might not have been like the best example. Like you don't start a creative director, absolutely. But I guess I will say like I do think like one theme I'm seeing is like everyone wants to do the whole like, do the thing and then make content about the thing and also sell info about the thing and talk about the thing and have a podcast about the thing, which I'm low-key doing right now. But it's vitally important that like you that thing is like your edge, like you have a T shape and you have like something that you can at least try to become top 0.1% at, and then everything else can snowball
And
from
when I
there.
tell people like, oh, I got to make content about the thing, it's like, okay, doing the thing is still the primary. Do the thing 80% of the time. And you don't have to make as much content as you think about that. If your main goal is just to attract clients, it's like just document what you're doing. If every week you've got 2 posts out that are like actual authentic you doing work and like why it's good and like what's up with it and like in its performance, then you're attracting the right people, right? And you're going to get your most, it's the 80-20 rule of like the content that actually gets you the clients. And so you focus on that. Then yeah, to your point, as soon as you're like, oh, I'm also going to sell info and shit, like, you got to be like a one of one.
100%. And I think attraction, not promotion, is huge and real. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, and also just relentlessly look. The hardest part about creative work right now is like finding the creatives. And you're obviously like working on something to solve that, but like I get people to hit me up for creative strategists, creative directors, creators every day. And it's different than like a TikTok shop, right? You can solve some of these issues. They've made frameworks to solve, but that's way different for like, yo, I'm a SaaS company in finance. I need a creator. That's really niche, right? And they're trying to search, they're trying to find it. It's like hard to bridge that gap. And I think that like you just got to be outbound. Like you got to be in people's, like this is still a game that happens in the DMs. Like 3 of the photographers that we hired recently are people that have just been DMing me shit forever. Even not even like their work, just like hot links. And I checked them out and I'm like, oh, hey, this guy's in Seattle and our shoot's in Seattle. Like so much of that is just those relationships. And especially creators too, are like, I'm not getting any work. Like if you're a niche and you're smart and you see brands that don't have any like actual creators or people on feed and their content sucks, it's just like, yo, let me do 8 videos with you. Like I just think like doing that relentlessly, you're just in the age where you can tap so far above your weight class in that like all the time.
I mean, I think also a concept that gets lost and, is delayed gratification, right? People don't want to put the work in without getting paid. But I think, as sort of a hot topic and take as that is, if you can prove to someone you can do the work and, maybe not get paid right then and there, you don't know what's going to come around on the back end, in a month.
And do it cheap. Also, that's the other thing. The creators was like, why don't I get brand deals? Like, have you made content about products that people could see their product in? My first brand deal was I made I think it was my second actually, but I made a video about the barbershop I get my haircut has a CPG line. And I just made some content about it. And then they were like, yo, can we run this as an ad? And I let them do it. I didn't even get paid. I was like, yeah, cool, just do it. I've never done this before. And I never had like a whitelisting. And then I immediately had like 7 other brands because they saw the ad. It's just like, yeah, sometimes that's just how it be. But if you, the other thing is just do shit for cheap. That's the easiest way. Like, guess what? I'd be like, hey, I'll do it. I'm just trying to learn this. Can you just cover my X cost? Like a lot of people will sign up for a lot of stuff for a couple $100,
1000%. It's been my experience. Yeah. compare it to you.
Yeah. What do most video creatives and editors misunderstand what it actually takes to build a sustainable career?
Yeah, well, I think there's like two types, right? I always we joke about this all the time. There's like old head video creators, and then there's like the cracked kids, and they both have their problems. Like the old head guys, like it's like you have to embrace the CapCut shit. Like at some point, you have to just be like workflow. Like we only shoot the clips we're gonna edit. Like everything is as quickly as possible, and it's just like speed. And I think the ones of those that like have an eye and are like, you know what? I'm not even gonna. I have a friend of mine who doesn't even shoot log anymore. He's just like, cool, I shoot out of camera. He's like, I can nail the light, and that means no post because my fucking color's done in camera. And like, guess what? He works less than everybody else, right? Because he doesn't have to do any of that shit. And so the guys that just embrace what you actually need in this era for like the old head people, I think are like gonna stick around. If not, you're just gonna get eaten away by people that can do shit faster. And then for the kids, it's like, like the virality isn't always the answer of it. Like everyone's trying to hack okay, I'm gonna put up all this volume, or I'm gonna do like, I just want to get this viral piece. But like the longevity of being able to like have the work comes from like having the style, and then having like the ability to do like assets that are like sustainable. Because you can't like if your success hinges every time on being viral, you're gonna have a hard career.
100%. And so, do you think some of those aspects are what makes a very lucrative career in 2026?
I think like really the hardest part about that is it's so hard to just be a video person in 2026, right? Like if you're a good editor, you go attach yourself to a brand or a creator, and you're probably going to get paid really well, and you're going to get like eventually burn out of whatever content style that is and want to move to another one. But like the real where you really make the money is basically video editor plus whatever else. Like the guy who used to shoot my YouTube sitting right here, he like learned Facebook ads from a course, and now he does VSLs. He's like, cool, I script, I run the ads. He does them for small businesses, and he makes way fucking more than he ever did shooting YouTubes, right? Because he just stacked it. And he's like 24 or some shit, and it's like that. But that ability to say, I'm a videographer and I can write, so your scripts are done, or I can run the ads, like you're immediately just doing more. Like this is like the skill stacking era.
Yeah.
And look, it's great. Get started. Be on WAP. Fucking do whatever you want for editing, for clipping. Like get the skill, but then add one or two on top of that, and you're just so much more valuable.
100%. I love that. Okay, cool. I'm gonna jump to like, I'm just curious right now. Like, you're obviously quite a creative dude, but also an operator. Like, what does your daily schedule look like these days, and what things have like made the biggest difference? I know I like kind of flip flop between like someone who's creative, and then I can be like, psycho operator, but sometimes it's hard to keep up both of those acts. So like,
Yeah, no, it's a fucking nightmare. My life is a nightmare. Yeah, look, I'm working, but like I'll spend some time with my kid or like what but like we're going at it like 14 hours a day. Like and even the weekends, like we're putting up a solid 8. It's like I kind of look, at least for me, right? Like I got like 1 million followers. My videos are all hitting. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity with the attention economy. Like honestly, nothing else really matters. Get as much money, have as much experiences, like get as many connections, because that shit isn't gonna last forever. So I'm like very much like do as much as we can. And I think even just having that attitude, not being afraid to be like, I'm not gonna watch fucking Netflix, and we're gonna be fucking grinding and not feel bad about it, and not be weird like asking other people and expecting stuff of them was like really helpful. It's almost like permission for yourself to like operate. Yeah, the biggest things for like flow and like that balance of creativity and operation is like having your people and delegating. Like I've got a team, and it's like Monday, I'm one-on-oneing with the team. I don't meet with them any of the time the rest of the week. No other calls, no whatever. But it's like we go through all the like Sunday night. I got everything in Asana. I know what we want. I know what scripts I have. I know what ads we need to run. I know what our things are. I know what I'm asking the team for. We're doing a webinar, whatever. Those tasks are all going out. I make sure they have all the info they have, and then I'm not even like they can follow up with me. I'm not fucking chasing shit down. And if it doesn't happen by the next week, we talk about it. But it's just like get everyone else enabled. If you have a team, is like number one, and like worry about that first, because if that's like secondary, it falls away. And then I have like full days. Like Wednesdays, I have no calls or meetings now, because that's when I'm like gonna write scripts and record and do whatever. Same thing with media. Like I do media twice a week. It's like I'm recording all the videos in 2 sessions, so I'm not like always constantly trying to do whatever. So like those blocks have really helped. But yeah, it's like I already know like the creative part where it's like, cool, if it's a night I still don't have an idea or I still can't write a brief or whatever, it's like I can do it Wednesday because I'm not doing shit else. And then getting outside, look, that's why like I love living in California, because like at the end of the day, anytime I'm like not accomplishing shit, I can go fucking surf or paddleboard or whatever, and like I'm back. And I feel like that nature access is like I just didn't have that shit when I was in New York. It just didn't work the same way.
Yeah.
I'd go outside and get stressed, you know.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, dude, that's honestly such a fucking sick answer. Yeah.
And a shitload of reading too. I read every night before bed now, which I wasn't doing prior, just to get off my phone a bit. But like I'm reading all kinds of shit, and that's just another one where like your brain just starts working. And like sometimes I'll be like, "Fuck, I gotta go like finish an idea now." But like whatever, that shit's so valuable. As you guys know, like getting the idea is like always so fucking valuable.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Quick fire 3 favorite books right now.
This is I'm rereading the memetics book. What's it called? There is no anti-memetics division. It's like a sci-fi book about like memory. I have a stack of books right here. That's why I'm looking over to it. There's a book. Couple book recommendations. This is a book called Gray Mirror that is like, I wouldn't read, if you don't read a lot, don't try. But if you read a grip, it's a good one where it's basically this guy, it's like almost like a speech and debate book. I don't agree with everything on it, but basically it goes through all the times in history, like different examples of like, particularly like progressivism and like liberalism, and like debates them. And it has like a very strict opinion that's like not a lot of people will agree with. I'm not reading it because I like agree with the opinion. I'm reading it because it's interesting how someone positions debates around like how people think and why and like consumer behavior. That's one I love. And then any dude who's like, if you're ever like, yo, I don't think like my friends, which I think you guys are probably in this scenario. You're like, I have a lot of bros. I love my bros. We don't think the same way. And there's this book called like, Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, about this. It's like, basically it's like a scientist, all those other things where he's just like, his brain just works in a different way. And he has to go about like a relatively normal life in the 60s. And it's just an excellent book about like, oh, it's okay to be like that and like what that means. And I thought that was particularly interesting.
It's okay to be a little bit neurodivergent sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, are you a little light autist? Great. Yeah.
Couldn't do it without it. Hey, say Gary, you want to riff one?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna jump to sort of some brand strategy. From a brand and marketing perspective, what are some ways to be extremely competitive as a brand? What moats would you be looking to build?
Yeah, I think it's scale on everything. One of the biggest conversations I had with the beauty brands, like everyone's afraid to spend on like Meta and stuff. People are always like, oh, we have a set budget, we have a forecast. It's like you've got to plan, if you have a physical product especially, of like if you're going to beat the forecast, like if you have any level of profitability, how do you gas pedal? And like that comes down to cash, conversion cycles, like all this other shit. But like as a creative, you need to be in the middle of that, being like, all right, how fast do we get new inventory? That kind of thing. You'll see people will be like, oh, we got a 3x ROAS. We're spending 10K a month. Let's up the budget 20%. It's like, no, let's fucking double it. Like, are we sick? Like, do we believe in this? Like, foot on the gas and not be afraid to like be in that, and then understand, how do I get new inventory? How do I get whatever? And same thing with creative. That's the other, like, oh, you have a creator and their account's ripping, or your Instagram's ripping. Make 7, make 10. We did this with the big beauty brand that I've worked with the last year. When I started working there, they were sending out maybe 250 mailers a month or 300 mailers a month to influencers. It's like 5,000 now. Because there was no end. We just kept testing other results there. And now 5,000 is about the sweet spot. And you're just like, everything is just so much bigger than you think. And so I think that's the biggest one, is like, you're going to find your successes, and you just got to gas that shit until it's dead. And I think most people just kind of like sit on it in that mid-level.
And do you think there's sort of a time when, say you're not reaching that success point, right, where it's like, okay, like, should we stop and take a step back, or do you think it's always just foot on the gas?
No, I think it's like, that's when you have a success. That's what I think. The biggest thing I see is you'll see a lot of people will get their little wins, right? Everyone kind of knows how to test your way into little wins. We're going to try Meta, we're going to try organic, we're going to try streaming. There's so many cool shit you can try, TikTok Shop, whatever. If you stick with one of them long enough and you work at it, you're probably going to get a win. And so, but then what people will do is they kind of like cautiously tiptoe their way around the win. And I'm like, cool, when you get something now, it's like you're best off just like going so much harder than you ever thought that you could possibly go at it, is like generally the answer. And it's funny because I'll go in these companies. I do a lot of like workshops and stuff like that. And you'll be like, okay, well, where are you winning right now? And it's like, okay, well, why aren't you doing more of it? And everyone's like, well, Carl said, or like, oh, well, out of the budget, we haven't asked. And it's just like, yeah, like, it's just the creator thing. It's the thing we noticed, like, again, like the Gel Blaster, like had a whole, like every company has its own politics and has its own, like, oh, this thing's happening in the business or cash or whatever. But like, when I was at 5 creators being like, we need to go to 50, like that was a thing. I think about that all the time now.
Sick.
The scale of the internet is just like the biggest, like brands, even the biggest brands don't realize it. The biggest brands still only have their core accounts, right? I was on the phone with a Fortune 500 the other day about their social, and it's like, they're like, oh, well, our account is 1 million followers, but it's kind of torched. And I'm like, do you have other accounts? Like, can we make 10 accounts? And it's just like, they just don't think like that shit. And it's such an advantage.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't think like that. Okay, well, say I just came up with a question which I want to selfishly ask, but I do think a lot of other people were in my same position. Like, okay, like we're vetted. It's like a new project we're working on. Like, you're in my shoes. You don't have unlimited budget, but you have some budget, and like what some of the things you're going to be looking to test that for quick wins as far as brand and marketing, and what are some mistakes you're going to want to try and avoid.
Yeah, so I look at your business and it's like, all right, what you're really doing, like what the problem you're really solving is like two-sided. One is like amazing creatives can't market themselves. So that's like problem one. And problem two is no one knows where to hire the amazing creatives. And I think it's just like telling those stories, like this person does this and they're fucking world class at it. And I'm explaining that in text or a video or whatever it is. And whether it's ads, whether it's organic, and just like ripping that relentlessly, I think is just like, that's like the lowest hanging fruit of like, it's just going to make sales. If you're in front of me and you're like, yo, I got a killer landing page designer and I'm shooting that shit on X and like I need a landing page, like I'm buying like right away. And so I think like you have kind of low hanging fruit there without having to do shit else. But then a business like that like the scale is where it gets complicated, right? Because then you're like, are we going to dip below our standard of people that are on the platform? And like, where do we live there? And that's like, I don't know how that problem gets solved, right? Because that's where everything ends up. Even like Contra is probably like the most decent platform out there now of like the Upwork, Fiverr types. And even then it's like such a fucking crapshoot. And so it's like, is there the scale and velocity to be a business you're excited about at that level? Or is this just kind of a wrapper for a future business that's bigger,
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think? What are you most excited about as far as like acquisition channels or where you think business goes?
I mean, I think the massive like explosion of like realization I've been having is like, wait, what the fuck? Like my biggest problem personally has always been finding the creators, and I've always like had brands asking me for shit, but I've never properly been able to like source. And now I'm like, wait, I'm literally spending all my time finding them and putting them in one place. So much you could do with that. Like, that could be an agency, it could be an award show. You have no idea.
Yeah. And the agency business, I think you'll find pretty quick. Like the agency business is probably much better. Agencies suck, right? There's a reason that like a lot of people don't really want to have them. But then if you have all the real creative talent, the money you're going to see is like going to be much better, like helping facilitate that than just doing like the SaaS version of it. But then the other end is like, look, like I do training at the end of the day, and like, yeah, it's info, but like we train creators, and it's a great fucking business. And then we train creative strategists, and that's also a great business. And you're going to see like, cool, if I have this A talent, this is what every TikTok shop agency is dealing with right now. All the good creators are all out there. They need to onboard their next gen, right? And it's that's going to happen in every creative field. It's like, how do you get people that are solid enough to do any of these things that we talked about, manage meta, do any of those pieces? And it's like, all right, well, the kids could pay, sure, but also could the businesses pay? Because they could pay way more. And then you begin to see the doors where it all goes.
1,000%. 1,000%. Okay, sick, Garrett. I'll let you rip one.
I'm trying to think a good one that would fit in after that. Okay, yeah, that's actually a good one. All right, so things to watch out for. Things that brands are doing that are, silently sort of hurting them.
Yeah, it's all in your spend, right? So small brands are usually like pretty lean, right? You're a small e-commerce brand, you're not wasting a lot of money. You go into any brand that's been around for like 8 years, they just have all this spend on shit now, where it's like, oh, we have an SEO agency, we have PR, we're doing like this event series, we're doing this whatever. Like the alpha in attention on the internet and how that even goes to your retail stores, goes to your physical locations, goes to your SaaS, goes to whatever, is just like so much higher than everything else. It's like any dollar you can be putting back into organic and creator ecosystem and then spending ads on that you can prove $1 back. It's like should be completely first on everywhere. And it's like, how can you restructure your org, cut everything to do that? And a lot of people won't go through that pain. That's the same way with agencies too. Agencies are structured to not sell you that way, and they really need to be. And you're just basically there's just alpha there the entire way. It's like, who's going to make the hard decisions to go redo that?
Yep, 100%.
All right, I got a decent one for you. Agency or freelancer?
I generally think like for a lot of creatives, like you're better off small agency. So here's what happens, right? You can you could be $1 million a year freelancer. You can certainly be a $500,000 a year freelancer, but you're still doing like all the work. And if you want to offer, and you're going to find that a lot of that work is repetitive process that you could just hire somebody to do. So you're going to turn into a little agency with some helpers anyway, even if you get like your 2 assistants, right? And so you might as well productize that. And really the question comes down to what is your skill set? Because you're going to be like, okay, I'm really a creative. I don't want to sell. I don't want to talk to people. It's like, okay, well, then you probably hate all the sales you're doing to be a freelancer anyway. Just get an extroverted person to go be your partner and then do a fucking agency. Or you're like, I actually really enjoy those things and the work is almost, I enjoy the work equally. Then it's like, yeah, cool. Then you should also probably, there's very few creatives who can also pitch. So then you should also probably start an agency. And that doesn't mean you need to have a 500 person, like 1,000 person shop or whatever. Like, look, the agency that we had in Austin that's still around, I'm just not an active partner in it, is like, it's got 40 people. We've never been able to crack scaling larger than that. But look, does millions of dollars a year. Cool business. Better than just doing it one person. And so I would say that like that small size is great. And look, a lot of people are acquiring niche agencies right now. You saw like Van Group. I worked with them. I was their like creative in residence for a year. They just do high-end websites, and they got acquired like 3 months ago, right? I think you're like, oh, website agencies are getting acquired in this year of our Lord. Like, yo, you can like go get real money from that.
What do you think? Sort of, say if I'm a freelancer, right, and I want to go start an agency, and I've been doing it, and I'm happy where I am. What would sort of those next steps be?
Yeah, you need like killer partners, right? Like, so when we started our agency, there was 3 of us, and we all had a different skill set, and we all trusted each other and had worked together prior. And we had some like arrangements of like 2 of us have left the business at one point. One guy went to Gel Blaster was an internal project of that agency, and one guy basically left to spin it out to run it. And then I left and did another business, then came back in when Gel Blaster needed it, right? Like you have to have those people. I think that's the hardest part for people that don't have it is like, do you have boys you trust who work as hard as you? And then you outline that from the beginning that here's what happens if like shit gets weird or equity and you're kind of down for it and you have those hard conversations. That's the biggest piece. Like you're not gonna be able to do it yourself. You gotta have like a person or 2. Even if those are just like great lieutenants, like people that you pay that help do that, like you have to have the people. So if you don't have the people, that's where you should be sticking to be a freelancer. But if you've got some of those relationships or other people that are building or people that do similar and you're like, oh shit, if we join forces, people would be like, fuck. Then that's where you lean in. And then just developing systems, right? Like every agency is, okay, we have our offers, like same kind of thing. Maybe we can do whatever, but we have 2 or 3 offers. And then we have our acquisition, and then we have our management and our SOPs for how we communicate and just building infrastructure.
Sick.
I got to do a YouTube on that, but anyway.
No, I love that, right? Because I've been a freelancer for 10 years now, right? And it's always been sort of a hard thing to crack of, okay, where does it make sense to go, where I'm very happy as a freelancer and making the money I want to make and doing the projects I want to do, but then, okay, how do I grow and scale from there?
Yeah,
right?
well also too, if you're like, yeah, we're going to own, when it comes to like portraits that also smashes carousels on fucking social media, we're the kings. And that's a business that that's probably a business you can sell if you get to 50 people and it's ripping, right? And so like there's just that upside is creatives always undervalue their upside. Creatives don't charge enough. Creatives don't think they're worth the fucking right amount, and they don't want to build businesses because they view it as like selling out or busy work or whatever. And it's like, yo, this is probably the only time in history creatives been able to get this fucking rich. No. And get that. You can do what you get to do when you get rich shit, employ other creatives and buy hot shit and all the shit that you've ever wanted. And like the employment piece is big, right? Like if I get an ad, I'm doing an ad in 2 weeks for 180 grand. What am I doing? I'm employing a bunch of other fucking sick creatives. Whether that's 100 grand or 180 grand, I'm probably going to make the same amount. It's about to be the quality of the creative, and you're employing a bunch of other people. It's like, yo, like, would you rather have you doing that or me doing that or like some fucking dude from Accenture? Like, fuck that,
Yep. 100%. No, I love that.
You're 17 right now. In this age, what would some things you'd be, looking to focus on or spend your efforts versus avoid in this era of the internet?
Yeah, I would say, look, don't pay any attention to like the single till Series B and like all that kind of shit. Like you got to be out there with people. Like everyone's always like locking in monk mode and all that shit. Like, I'm not saying go drink every night, but like your life is going to come from your network online and offline. Like just go be in the mix. Like get to a creative city as fast as you can. It doesn't have to be New York or whatever. It can be fucking Chicago. It can be a B-lister. Like get somewhere. If you're in a small ass town, get somewhere around other people near you, just like whatever it is you can fucking afford. Dallas is better than fucking Waco, right? Like just move up and get around those other people. And then, yeah, I think, look, the biggest alpha is like the WAP clipping video editing ecosystem is the most powerful thing for any kid right now. If you want to be like, you learn video editing and you learn how social media works, and whether you're doing that for streaming or gaming or business or whatever, like learn that, do it for shit you like to start, and then start doing it for some shit you don't like, finance, some boring shit, and see if you can make it work. And you have like one of the most employable skill sets for fucking years from that. Like you just learned everything about social media management and video editing that like guys used to have to work like 8 years at an agency to do. I think that's just a massive upside. And if you're willing to yap and like get on camera and do TikTok shop and stuff, it's the same thing. Like if you're even moderately extroverted or good looking and you're like 21, like go fucking make TikTok shop money. Like I had to work at Chick-fil-A. Like fuck that shit. I'd be on TikTok shop when I was fucking 20, you know? Like I was literally, I had Abercrombie and Chick-fil-A were my 2 fucking jobs. And I could have been on TikTok shop getting rich. Fuck that.
Oh no, what do you think is the most employable skill set right now?
Man, the most employable skill set right now. I still think it's being close to the money. You know, can you run meta ads for businesses? It's not even like media buying, but it's like, yo, can I turn $1 into $2 for a business? Because I know how to do like meta and landing pages and creative is by far the most. Like, even if you're mid at it, so many people are overspending or can't crack it. And you're just like, and it's an employable skill because you go, hey, you give me X amount for creative, X amount to spend, and I'm going to turn it into money on the other side through meta. It's just like every business in America can use that shit.
Which at its core is basically, turning cold eyeballs into people that want to buy from your brand.
And honestly, it really just comes down to like, okay, can I make the most basic of landing pages? Or even honestly, you don't have to do any of these shits. You just need to be able to hire it. You just need to be able to be like, I can buy a landing page from this guy or use a Shopify template or whatever. I can buy creative from these UGC people on whatever fucking website of your choice, mini social, any of that shit. And I know enough about it to put it in the ad account, set the fucking ASC button to automatically bring me money. Like, right? Like that's like really the, and then keep improving it until it wins. That's why I think it's interesting because that's why media buying is commodified, but it's commodified for like big brands, right? Because your strategist or your designer is probably like savvy enough now. And certainly all your agencies are. But for every other small business in America, like they're not, and you can be.
Biggest things you're looking forward to coming up this year?
Man, I'm doing Euro summer for like a month. I'm gonna be in fucking Cannes. We're going to Nice. We're going to Venice. We're going to Greece. We're going to fucking Puglia. So I'm looking forward to that. I get to make content around the world. I've been maxing out on that. We were just in Tokyo. We were in fucking Zurich. We were in China. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also I make a lot of content around cultural shit now. Like I'm doing a video for the Masters tomorrow. I'm doing one for we're going to Coachella the other week. Like I'm enjoying like being in the cultural conversation and like being able to do stuff around that. It's like really interesting. Hopefully we don't nuke Iran. I can be hopeful.
Dude, so like,
this is gonna be a hard watch if you come back in a week and it's fucking nuclear fallout.
We're gonna post this the other day. Nah, dude, we really appreciate you hopping on. I gotta brush up on my interview skills, but your answers are fucking awesome. And yeah, we'll send you anything before it comes out. And